Hey, welcome to Between the Lanes, episode number 68. I'm Ron Hirschman,
I'm Shane.
and it's just us two tonight. We put the call into Walker, but we never heard from him. And I'm sure that he's probably busy moving the track, it's been moved, it's bolted together,
hmm
and I guess they're going to start working on the surface.
I believe they've already started. I talked to
Mhm.
Randy today, and he said that the red lane was fixed.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, awesome. He's like, yep. He's like, I worked on that a good bit. And he's like, I have it fixed. I was like, all right.
I know they're doing some sanding and stuff at joints, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to repaint it and then
Yep. Repaint
restripe
it, rebraid it,
it.
restripe it. Yep.
So there you go. So that's probably where Walker is because we know he's not getting his hair cut.
And we know he's not working.
So as we said, welcome to Between the Lanes, episode number 68. You can find us on YouTube. Slot Racer is the channel. We now have 68 episodes up and some how-to articles and some other special shows from the past year and a half now. Um, Find us on Facebook. Between the Lanes is the page. And race results from last weekend. And I got a race report from the weekend before because I didn't have the information for last week's show. So the winning reports, the AWRA was in action, excuse me, at American Adrenaline Raceway, Randleman, North Carolina. And in the junior class, Hannah was the winner. Tiger Tim was second. And Amaya was third. And then in the sportsman class, excuse me, and just bear with my voice. Um, Charles Eldridge was your winner. Carl Legaspi was second. He's the track owner. And then Carl was in third. I didn't get his last name. In the Outlaw Legends, Charles was your winner. Carl was second. And Drew Boren was third place in the Legends. Texas Retro Series was in action last week at Dallas Slot Cars. It was I think this was the fifth or sixth annual Texas two-step retro race. In Can-Am, Rick Worth was your winner, Ken Stevens second, Richard Hoffer with an ugly face was third.
Looks like Gargamel from the Smurfs.
I don't know nothing about that, so
You don't? Oh,
no,
man.
no, I'm sorry.
That's
That's
funny.
generation gap there. Rick Worth is an old wing car racer. I remember Rick from years ago. It's good to see him back racing. In F1, Ken Stevens was the winner. Richard Hoffer, with a much better friendly face, was second. Junior Bailey was third. And in the retro angle winder class, Rick Worth was the winner, and Casey Neubauer was second, and Gary Dean was third. And they had a pretty good turnout, and we had some pretty close racing. I think the top four in Canada was only like separated by two or three, maybe four laps. So
We need to
um,
go there next year.
yeah, it's a fun track. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a flat track. It's not a real technical track,
right.
but it's not easy either. So
I got Texas on the list.
I had a
I was
good
thinking,
I had a good time there when I went
yeah,
there.
I remember you went, that, and I know Russell, you mentioned going.
Yeah, I've been there three times. Twice we raced on the King G16, and then
hmm
last time I went, which was, well, this would have been the third year, but I raced on the flat track, and had a lot of fun. Um, then we had the Turkey 500 race at the world famous Boogie Speedway, Jackson, Michigan. Boogie says thumbs up. Um, Pretty much the same podium in all three classes. In Can-Am and GTP, the order was Frank Ulbrich was the winner, Jeremy Wyatt was second, and Matt Dubé was third. In Group F, that switched with Frank still winning. He completed the clean sweep. Matt Dubé was second, and Jeremy was third in the Group F. New England Retro Racing ran at Bristol 1010 Speedway the weekend before last. I said we would have the info on this show, and here it is. In stock car, Vinny Cafazzo was your winner. Keith Libby second, and Retro East Racer Mike Katz was third. And then in Can-Am, Keith Libby continued his dominance by winning another series race this year. Vinny Cafazzo was second, and Gary Clinton Jr. was third overall after he won the B main. At Millstream Raceway in the United Kingdom, England, the UK. I'm not sure if they had a UK RRA race last weekend or just a special event there, but Dave Wright was the winner in Can-Am, and lovely Kathleen handed out trophies, I think, for most of the classes. They also ran the fifth and final race of the Driftin' 50s Proxy Series. And they had 18 cars, and Greg Gilbert, I don't know if this is the Greg Gilbert, I didn't get this. I asked after I seen Steve Kempson sent me the info. I messaged him back. I said, was this Greg Gilbert from the U.S.?
Right.
But Greg Gilbert is the leader or winner of the Proxy Series after 5 races. They also had a 4-hour endurance race. Team Sci-Fi, which is Simon Francis and Phil Helmsley. They were the winners. Second place was Team Wallington on the Sea. Steve Kempson, Bob Hollins, and John Secchi was the second place team. Third place team was Norfolk and Change. Andy Bishop and Bill Jenner, third place. And Norfolk and Change is kind of an English joke. So if you say Norfolk and Change 3 times real fast, you kind of get the joke there, I think. Shane's thinking.
Your voice, it's hard for me to understand.
Norfolk and Chance.
Oh,
Norfolk and Chance. Got it?
got it now. Yeah. Got to break it down, I'm a Southerner. You got to slow it down.
Okay. So the big news was, or one of the tidbits Steve informed me was, Tony James is back in England after reuniting with Billy Idol, and they both played in an old punk band called Generation X back in the, I guess, 80s. And they have joined forces with Steve Jones and Paul Cook from the Sex Pistols, Save the Queen, and they formed a new band called Generation Sex. And I seen some videos a week or so ago on Facebook. I think George Kimber had him on his page, and Eddie Shore from California. I think he went to the show because I think he actually posted video he took from his cell phone. So
that's cool.
They were playing out in LA at least for sure that I know of. I don't know if they did some other dates elsewhere, but so anyway, Tony was back, and Tony won concours. There's a picture of his concours winning car. And then longtime UK racer Mick Langridge was the Sportsman Award winner, and it was his first retro race experience, is what Steve said. So, do you remember your first retro race experience, Shane?
I do. You should also.
Well, I do. But we didn't give you an award. I think you won the B main, though, didn't you?
No.
No. You barely.
No, I won Can-Am, I believe.
Okay.
I think I won Can-Am, and then I was winning the B main in F1, and that's whenever I think tape or something was wrapping around the axle and locking it up.
Yes.
Remember, you were like, everything's tight, nothing's slipping, and then you're like, I took it to the R&D department, and we figured it out.
Yeah. So. Okay. So winner, that is your chicken dinner report. Wasn't a whole lot of racing because it was, of course, Thanksgiving weekend, but
right.
So the 2 turkeys are here. So
Sunday.
Okay, so this weekend, December 1st, of course, is the I guess probably the big race of the weekend, or the one that's getting the most kind of airplay out there, is the Shinoda Reunion Race, which will be held at Downriver Speedway this weekend. They're going to run like BRS Retro Rules Can-Am F1 early in the day. And then around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, they will start the Shinoda portion of the event. And there is 2 classes. One is called Period Correct, which basically you're going to run a 1968 type car, motor, chassis, body, little leniency placed on rear tires and guide flags and gears because some of that stuff's hard to find. So it's close to vintage as you can get, let's put it that way.
Right.
And then they're going to run what they call Unlimited Shinoda on the King track, which basically is like modern retro angle winder chassis with ProSlot Scorpion or ProSlot FK motors, 11-tooth spec pinions. So it's, I mean, for me, it's kind of just a body change. I'm going to take off a swoopy, retro Can-Am style retro pro body and fit a Shinoda reproduction body on my car. So the Mad Fast Series is at Slot Car Cave, Rock Hill, South Carolina. The Midwest Flat Track Series is at Chicagoland Raceway. The Gator Retro Racing region is in action down in Florida. ORS is at not Mid-America, excuse me, Marks Model World, MMW. And then Ohio Oval Series is at Fast Tracks in Fremont, Ohio on the oval track. Coming up December 7th and the 9th, 7th through the 9th, we got the Turkey Nats, which I think we have, there you go, the flyer on that. AWRA has got their Santa Showdown, Staunton, Virginia. Florida Slot Car Series is in action. Central Illinois Slot Series is at Mid-America, Bloomington. Mid-American Hardbody Series is at Mid-America, Naperville. And then the Pin Ohio.
Going on there.
Yeah. Lots of mids.
Yeah.
So then the Pin Ohio Series is racing that weekend as well. So the following weekend, December 15th, Mid-South is in action where?
We will be going to Turn and Burn in Moxville.
And I know that the Ohio Challenge Cup Series is also in action at HMS in Bellevue, Ohio. And then December 15th is the NASCAR Christmas Tree 400 at Slot Cars or Us, White House, Tennessee. Top 3 trophies are EVs.
Yeah.
Hard body race.
I think I could talk to George and get the hard body cars, take a trip. That shit's going to be cold up there, though.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, yes, maybe not.
Right, because are they in the snow path or whatever it's called?
They border between snow and ice. They probably get more ice than they do snow.
Gotcha.
And I should have removed this because we really don't have anything to give away this weekend, so we'll skip past that. But last week on the show, we talked about braid. And I think the subject was shearing off braid because was it you or Walker or somebody sheared a braid off?
I came close to shearing, like
at the Flexi Flat.
I straightened it out and grabbed it with the pliers, and it's like, ooh, I need to be careful because if not, then it's going to pull the braid and it's going to leave the clip in there. So.
Yes, I've had that problem a few times, 2 or 3 times at least in the last year.
Right.
And never made sense to why it did that because I never had that problem before, and I never really looked at what was going on after, like you said. I mean, one time I had, if there's 408 strands, there was only 2 strands connected. So,
right.
When I, of course, when I pulled the braid, of course, the clip was stuck in the guy, and you're trying to get the clip out, and so. And we also was talking about braid thickness. So we're going to talk about braid thickness first. And I think you brought up the Red Fox braid last weekend. And yes, there are 2 thicknesses of Red Fox braid. And the the top braid in this picture would be the thicker braid. And of all the thick braid I have, the clip is not pre-bent or bent in any way. It's just flat.
Right.
You have to
Just
bend
straight.
it. And that braid is, I'm going to say it's 50 thousandths thick. I mean,
yeah, because it's thick until you kind of flatten it and clean it a little bit.
Yeah, so I picked up parts of it where it was 47 thousandths or whatever, but I mean, checking 5 or 6 pieces, it pretty much averaged out to 50 thousandths thick. So
Gotcha.
the thin braid at the bottom does have a pre-bent clip, and it's roughly 30 thousandths. So between the two Red Fox braids, there is 20 thousandths difference in thickness. And what is also interesting about Red Fox braid is it is a tubular construction. Like I did my best.
Comes off the sleeve.
Well, yeah, it's almost like a coax type.
Right, yeah. Because as soon as you said that and I seen that, it's like, yeah, it looks like it's sleeved and then pressed or rolled.
So like basically the braid is circular when it probably comes off a roll.
Yeah, the braiding machine. Yeah.
And then when it goes, through the dies to put the clip and stuff on, it's probably smashed to make it flat. And so yes, if you ever buy or try Red Fox braid, you will notice that you look at the end, doesn't look like that, of course. I mean, I pushed a ballpoint pin in there so you could see that it's tubular construction. All other braid out there is basically flat braid that's weaved and flat. So I don't know if there's any advantage of a tubular braid over a flat braid, and believe I've never really ran the Red Fox braid. Like I can't say anything good or bad about it, but now I'm going to make a.
I can tell you a story why I bought it for myself.
But when you went to a braid that had a deep recess.
Recess. I was doing some testing and found that if I put the thicker braid on my car to run at Randy's track, Team Cobra, on the red lane, whenever the hump was there, if I ran thicker braid, everything was good. So instead of moving spacers, I adjusted with braid. So whenever I went to the red lane, I'd just throw the thicker braid on, run that heat, go back to my pit box, go back to my normal braid, everything's good to go.
See, speed secrets, all revealed on Between the Lanes.
Oh, yeah. Or, as I tell people, there are no secrets. You just have to ask the question properly.
Well, and then some people say, well, he was cheating, changed the braid to one. So, okay. So, when it comes to flat braid, I measured some Prime and Big Mama and some paw braid.
I've never tried the paw braid.
And I have a few pairs laying around. I mean, few pairs.
I've seen it and I've heard good reviews. I've never tried it.
So prime braid, basically, I find it to be like 28 thousandths thick. I mean. Yeah,
I think that's the thinnest that I've noticed.
Okay, Big Mama is anywhere from 30 to 32 thousandths thick.
Yep. And
the paw braid also seems to be 30 to 32 thousandths thick. So there's a lot of other braids out there. I mean, I'm sure if you measured, and this was all this braid, the Prime, the Big Mama, and the paw is 408 strands, 408. I don't know what the Red Fox is. I don't know if that's a 408 braid or.
I've seen like on eBay and stuff like that, and tracks that are selling it. It's advertised as 408.
408, okay. Because see, years ago we used to have 432. Which was 432 strands. And then.
What was it before? Because didn't Parma used to have a Big Mama braid, and they also had a thinner braid?
Yes, that's 360 braid. And 360 braid is 360 strands. And of course, 360 braid was used on all the ready to run cars because 360 braid was cheaper to buy than 408. A couple pennies a pair or whatever. But, ready to run cars, 360 was fine. I'm sure Parma still sells 360 braid. I don't know that for a fact. I believe that REH, under their generic brand, they sell 360 and 408 brands or thicknesses. And, REH years ago used to have 432. Don't know if they still offer it or not, but They were the last company I know that made 432 strand braid. So, so now we will go on. We'll get into why we shear the braid. So, when you look at that picture there, Shane, do you see anything why you might shear braid?
The only thing that I can think, and this was going to be a question to you, is how you install your braid.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
No.
Well, yes, in this case, you could prevent that if you didn't. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so if you look at this picture carefully, can you see my cursor?
Uh-huh.
If you notice the edge here of the dimple side of braid, of the braid, of the clip, it extends past the bottom side of where the clip is.
Right.
So you have like this sharp edge here.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So this clip is longer. And when you fold your braid, well, there's another picture showing it's longer than the end of the.
Right.
Okay. So when you bend your braid like this, see how you're shearing your braid?
Right. Here's another funny thing. I don't put my braid in like that.
Put it in dimple up?
Yeah, like reverse with how that is, and that's how I do my braid. I don't know if it's right or wrong. That's just how I've always done it.
Okay, so we'll get into that in a second. So, I mean, technically, if you put your braid in dimple up, then this part of the clip should not shear your braid.
Right.
So you probably sheared your braid hitting the back of a chassis or
yes, it was because it was a car. There's a car underneath the bridge, and you could see straight across the braid. Plus, on those, I was running the Red Fox weighted guides. It's squared.
Right.
You know what I mean? So between the rear of the chassis and that squared edge, and I was getting along pretty good, and then a sudden stop. So,
okay. So you can buy braid two ways: dimpled and no dimple. The dimple is on there, and basically. On the old associated guides, on the bottom side of the blade or bottom side of the boss where the braid goes in, there would be two holes molded in there.
Yep.
There was a hole in the top, and a hole in the bottom. So what you would put your lead wire through the hole in the top and push your braid and kind of pinch it together to make contact.
Right.
Bottom dimple would go in the hole in the bottom to help retain the braid in the guide flag. Okay.
Right.
So as time has went on and new companies have come out with guide flags, they don't put holes in the bottom of the guides. So therefore, a dimple really isn't needed per se.
Right.
But the dimple does give you some added snugness,
right,
or a tighter fit of the braid in the guide to keep it from coming out.
Right.
So if you I just take a pair of scissors and I just trim.
Scissors or dikes or something.
I actually use a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
So
that's your body scissors.
Yeah, they're my body scissors actually.
Were they?
Yeah.
I'd be afraid of doling it.
Well, the brass isn't really that hard, but
right.
Yeah. So I for this I snipped it like that, and then if we look at this view now, when this is going over here, I should have took a picture of this, but there's no way that could shear it in that manner.
And that's prime braid, right?
Prime braid. And
okay, yeah.
I'm not knocking prime braid. I think prime braid is really good braid, and I use it a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But prime braid is the only brand I see that has that
the elongated
overlap or overhang or whatever problem.
Gotcha.
And
that's like me. I'll use prime braid for like big events, and then I'll use Parma for like regular races, just because once prime braid's gone, it's gone.
Well, I don't know. It came back for a while. I don't know really what's going on now, but
I stocked up on it, so I'm good for a while. But that's just the kind of a note to myself. All right, this is just a weekly let's have fun race. Parma braid. This is a race that matters. Prime braid.
So if you trim that clip back, and we'll go back to this picture. Oh, I went too far. So if you trim that back, you eliminate this area here
Mm-hmm.
that would definitely shear off
Right.
in the right kind of hit. And I never sheared any braid other than prime braid. Prime braid is the only, but I never paid attention to this. Okay.
Right.
I kind of discovered this like a week or so ago, and I'm like, that's why I've sheared braid, because
Right.
that it's an overhanging, overlapping, whatever you want to call it, and that is making a real nice sharp cut point
Oh yeah. Yeah.
impact.
And then if you put it in like I do with the dimple side up, I can also see now why sometimes I've sheared the top of the guide off. Because if I catch
Oh,
something just right and that's sticking out, that's leverage. So
yep,
same thing.
yep. So there's our tech tip of the week, or at least solution to a problem.
Gotcha.
So yes, I will have to start trimming my braid.
Yep.
Um, so before we go on, um, Bob Belhazen, who is a racer down at Dallas Slot Cars, he had some heart issues a year or so ago, and now he's having heart issues again. And tomorrow morning he is scheduled for surgery. I think that everything's going to be okay, but he's going to be off work for some time after the surgery and everything. And they have started, or there's a link to a GoFundMe account. If any slot racers out there wish to help Bob and his family down the road, there's a means for you to donate to his GoFundMe accounts. And we wish Bob, all I wish him well. I hope he gets through this and permanently this situation.
Because I read something earlier that I think Chantel posted to the Dallas Slot Cars page.
Yep. And then Chantel was not at the race last weekend because she's still having problems with her detached retina, which that's been a mess. But hopefully that improves. And we wish you well, Chantel. And rest in peace, Jerry Miller. A lot of people a lot of old timers would probably remember Jerry Miller. Jerry Miller was a Group 7 pro racer out of Indianapolis. He raced back in the mainly, like the last time I seen him race was in the 80s, Tri-State USRA series and stuff. And he also raced midgets and sprints in real life. He worked.
I think I seen a post about that too.
Yeah, he passed away.
Mike Fleming shared it.
Yep. And Fleming was really close with Jerry Miller. I wasn't really that close with him because I didn't live.
I was trying to think. It's like, why does that name sound familiar?
Yeah. So, but Jerry Miller has a very colorful past in real life racing. He came from Albuquerque, New Mexico, with the Unzers up to Indy to work on their real race cars at Indy and stuff, and then he just stayed in Indy and started, like racing himself. And he won some fairly major races. But he raced with Foyt and Andretti and all the big names of the 60s and 70s and into the early 80s. So, but rest in peace, Jerry Miller. And I always do that. So, there you have it.
Yeah.
So,
another great question I was thinking of.
Another great question.
Braid.
What about it?
Cleaning it. You ever notice that, like, I've noticed that you buy some braid and it's kind of dull.
Yep.
And you buy other braid, it's shiny.
Yep.
You think that helps? Or, you know what I mean? I always think, you've been around me and you race with me, but people who probably watch this show who don't know me, I am super clean and OCD when it comes to my cars. Right. Everyone who's always looked at my stuff always you always have such clean stuff. Flexi flats. Ernie was looking at my cars. He's like, did you practice? I was like, yeah. And he was like, your car is just like immaculate. And I'm like, that's just a habit.
You're always polishing it.
Yeah. I was like, that's just always been me. It's how I was raised. Take care of my stuff. And especially when it came to racing, just keep it clean. And I look at Braid and it's like, yeah, I'll actually go through Braid. Like, that's kind of dirty.
Okay. So years ago, I hadn't raced very long, and I started wing car racing and going out of town and traveling, and it was probably a couple of years, but I went to a race, a fairly decent sized race, and John Laster was there. The late John Laster of Team Cayman, and John would always, prime braid is soldered under the clip to the clip.
Right.
John would always solder his braid to the clip. Okay,
Zap did that before to the Parma stuff.
Right. And why do you do that? And his big thing was, because I thought maybe it was trying to make better contact,
right. Yeah.
When you bend over metal onto braid, you've got higher points through the braid, maybe leach a little solder in there and kind of make a nice fluid connection. But his thing was, he soldered in so when he pulled the braid out, the clip would always come out with it.
See, that's why I did it.
So what I had done prior to that was I would, where the clip, you've got where it pins over here and here to capture the braid, I would take a pair of side cuts.
Yeah, and see, I did that before.
Yeah. And
I do that, and then I used to, there was a batch of Palmer braid that was, bad about you'd go to pull the braid.
Yes.
The braid would come out, and the clip would be in there.
Yes.
So then Trace, you remember Trace.
Right.
He showed me, you got to squeeze it. And I was like, well, if I squeeze it and then I solder it.
It's not coming out.
Yeah, so that's what I started doing. Yeah.
I always crimped it, and then I thought, well, that's kind of cool. I'll just start soldering it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a pain in the butt. But so I just went back to the crimping thing, and then I haven't crimped braid in I don't know how many years. I just got out of habit of doing it and just don't do it. And
right. That's with me. I don't solder braid anymore because the same reason. I haven't had an episode where crap. You know what I mean?
But I will tell you this, like you said, okay, some braid looks better than other braid out of the package.
Yeah.
Okay, so braid, of course, is a copper product.
Mm-hmm.
Copper oxidizes just sitting out in the air.
Right.
And, anytime you have oxidation, you have less transfer of power.
Right.
Okay. So, my longtime racing buddy, Randy.
Yeah, because see, that's why I brought it up, because I remember the story you told me about.
Randy always ultrasonic cleaned his braid.
What solution does he use? Because I've used lighter fluid, and I've noticed we talked before about if they just sprayed the track, and you put your cars out there, they're generally slow because of the glue. And then I've noticed after running a car on a freshly glued track, pick the car up, look at the braid, and it's like, oh God.
Well, see, Randy always cleaned everything in trichlor.
Trichlor?
Trichlor, which is basically a dry cleaning solution. I mean, he used to clean all of his motor parts and his arms, but you can't get trichlor anymore. So, and I guess this will be homework for next week's show.
Sorry.
No, that's okay because I didn't.
It's a good topic because I got a lot of questions about this stuff.
It's okay. So, I use a clean, and I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I use a cleaning solution in my ultrasonic cleaner. I think it's LCR brand. I got to get the number. But
I remember one time
it does a super good job on cleaning copper. You can throw the cruddiest looking pair of hardware in there off an inbound, and they'll look new when they come out of there.
So it's not like obviously it's not like Brasso, because Brasso you got to get in there and scrub. This is an actual liquid solution.
Yep, pour it in there, put it in there.
Do you have to half and half it, or just straight out the bottle?
I always use it straight up.
Do you? Okay.
But
before we talked about
it's a non-biodegradable solution, so you can actually flush it down your sink if you want.
Have you ever reused it or filter it through a coffee filter? or do you just
Well,
use it and just you're done?
well, basically what I do is I mean, pour it in. I'll use it. I mean, I might something I don't really use every day, but I just
Right.
I just notice that over time, if it's not cleaning as
Hmm.
fast as it should, then I'll
Right.
dump
Time
it.
to refresh.
Freshen up.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because I've always wondered that, and I've always wondered if there was a proper or improper way of storing your braid. Because I noticed, like you keep yours in a bag, kind of folded up.
Yeah, it's just
You
because
know.
they're not scrambled
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. And then I've seen some people use like a little snap it thing. Like
Yeah,
me, I got like a little, I don't know, you get it from like Gander Mountain or whatever you put fishing lures in.
right,
And I got it sectioned, Prime, Big Mama, Red Fox.
right,
And I keep those little things you get that are supposed to take like the moisture out of the air. You know,
right.
I got them things all over my box.
But
I just
I don't think Randy ever ultrasonic the braid, thinking it would make the cars run better.
right.
Okay, like he just cleaned it. He would always say, you'd be surprised how much
Yeah, yeah. That's very yeah,
on that braid, which the braid comes on a roll. It sits in warehouses.
yeah,
It
yeah.
goes, so I
It's
mean,
just another one of my little ticks that it's just like, how can I
right,
clean that? You know?
right. And and then like when they run braid, I mean, they run tens of thousands of pairs.
Right.
And they'll sit around, and
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
and
yeah, because I've noticed buying different batches of braid. Some braid you get's like, wow, that's really clean and shiny. You
right.
know. You know.
And it just could be because it's been recently ran and it's not
Right.
sat very long anywhere to start the oxidation. I mean, I've seen braid that actually are green. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
a copper
Yep.
turns green after a while. So yeah,
That's the good stuff right there.
top secret.
Yep.
So and then again, if you're soldering your
Braid.
braid to your clip, then you need to go back and clean that flux out of there.
Right.
Or use
You
paste
use paste,
or
right?
acid. I mean, you got to get it out of there.
Yeah.
So, but I can't say that my cars ran faster because that braid's been ultrasonically cleaned.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just,
there wasn't, but
I mean, you've seen me because here lately when we go to races, we're pitted next to one another. You know how it's
right.
very rare you look over and you see I have a mess, you know?
But I will tell you this. I do notice this from time to time. Well, let's say I go to a race this weekend and I have 4 cars and I put all new braid in the cars, run them a little bit, kind of like, okay, I'm not going to race these 2 cars
Right.
in the box. When I go to the next race, it could be the next week or a couple weeks after, and I pull those cars. I mean, the braid's new. I'll
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
juice on, put it on the track, run it. There's times I went over and changed the braid, and the car's
Uh-huh.
up in speed. And
Yeah.
I gotta
And see,
believe
I did that.
I
Yeah.
gotta believe it's because the braid is starting to oxidize, or it has
Right.
oxidized.
Right.
I'm not getting a transfer of power.
Yeah.
So
See, I've did that before. I've had braid on the car, and it's like, all right, we're getting ready to start the race. That braid looked bad. I need to change it. Change it. Put the car out there, and it's just like, why did I even touch this thing? Because it's what's. So.
yep. And then too, I mean, as you run the car, the braid gets a little thinner. Not
Right.
not as it's like the braid
Yeah.
falling off.
Right.
With the pressure,
Yep.
kind of smashing the braid or
Right.
compressing it. So there's a lot of times your car's really good and you're like thinking, okay, I'm getting ready to qualify. I'm going to put new braid in.
Right.
The car handle's funny because that braid you put in is a little thicker, taller
Yeah.
than what you took out. So I always, if we're qualifying or something, like maybe even if I'm going to put new braid in for the race, take it out. I put a new braid in and go out and run the car a little bit. Just
Right.
to make sure it's still the same, or
Yeah.
if there's
That's
a
just
problem,
like
then okay, let's
Yeah.
fix this.
true in tires and new braid and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You've said it. I've said it. Let me go run this car a little bit. I just put new tires, or just cut the tires, or I just put new braid on it. Let me run it. Make sure it's not doing anything weird.
Yep. The
You know?
box qualifying run.
I've made the mistake before. It's been years since I did it, so I'm probably jinxing myself. Track power was off. Tech was open. and everything. And I've put new braid in the car, and for whatever reason, the clip came out. Track power comes on, car does nothing. They're like, Shane, your lead wire's loose.
The lead wire, yeah.
Yep. Like
that's what happens when you don't. That's what happens when you don't super glue them in.
Yeah. So, and then you got those guys now that I've noticed are taking they're stripping the lead wire like an inch or so and running it through, and then coming back over the top.
Yeah.
I think Chubby started that.
We did that 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, it looks cool, but I can't seem to get it flat enough to when you put the braid in, it lifts the top of the guide up. I'm like, oh, that just seems like it's a weak point.
Well, the only problem with doing that is when your lead wires need changed, then you got to replace the guide flag. I mean, it's I don't think there's any advantage to doing it that way.
And then
the other way, I mean,
another thing I've seen is I guess the guys over in Europe and stuff like that, they run their wire straight.
Right.
And it goes down, and I haven't figured that out yet. I know they're low cutting the guide, and it's self-centering still, but it's just how does it do that? So,
yep.
Maybe this year, if Giannis comes to the Nats, I can ask him. Or I should have asked Justin, because I wonder, because he's probably seen it and knows.
Oh, he may have been doing it. I don't know. Right. But see, that's if you super glue your guide clips in, that's a good thing, because then if you hit the wall and you blow the braid out of your car, you don't blow the lead wire clips out. Or if you're over there changing your braid,
they don't slip out.
You're okay. But if you shear a guide or shear a braid, you can't get your clip out, the braid clip.
Yeah.
And your lead wire clip is not soldered in. You can get underneath with an X-Acto.
Yeah.
You take the lead wire clip out and then get that braid clip out.
You have to cut away from you. Cut away.
Yes, cut away.
How's your boo-boo doing?
It's fine.
Yeah, that just made me. I remember when you said you were doing bodies. You're like, yeah, I should have went and got stitches for that one.
I should have probably. No, that's fine.
You got feeling in your thumb?
I had feeling in my thumb. Hurt like hell, and then just my biggest fear was it just getting infected, which I kept it clean and everything. So.
Right. Yeah, I had an episode of cutting one of my fingers, and it's like, I think I cut something important. They're like, why? And I was like, I can't feel that finger. They're like, you might want to go get that looked at. All right, well.
And that was a pain because I had to wear a band, and I went to a race. I can't flatten my braid right because my thumb's not.
Yeah. Yep.
It wasn't good. But it's okay. It's been okay for a few weeks now, but I sliced it.
Oh, yeah. I remember. You were like, you got to look at this.
The best part was trying to get a Band-Aid and
I hate wearing Band-Aid on it. Between what I do, obviously everyone knows now, construction work, I'm constantly using my hands to strap down the truck or move something, or I'm driving a forklift. I can't keep any kind of Band-Aid or anything on my hand. It doesn't feel natural. So I'm the guy that's over there dumping half a tube of super glue on something.
Well, and because that's what I thought I was going to do with this if it didn't heal up after a couple hours, start to clog up or whatever. But
right.
Okay, so that's like some guys wear the latex gloves when they race and pit their cars.
Right.
I can't deal with it.
I see Buf do it.
Oh, I know. A lot of guys do it.
Yeah, my hands would sweat so bad.
Oh, it's not the sweat. It's like I have no
feel. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I have to go gloveless. And then
it's just like me and Bobby used to talk about it, because Bobby raced big cars.
Right.
And he said his dad would kill him if he says if he went under the flag stand and his dad seen bare hands, he's like, oh yeah, it was the end of the world whenever he pulled into the pits. And that's what gets me is a lot of times you go to a lot of these local races, you'll see guys still going gloveless, and it's like, nah.
Well, because they don't have the feeling.
Yeah.
Because I remember, okay.
See, that's what my dad used to yell at me about was I would go gloveless.
Well, right. A lot of guys race gloveless. And then places started making them wear gloves.
Right.
And the drivers, a lot of drivers had problems because.
Yeah, you couldn't feel any. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But I mean, most of them over time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right off the bat, but the guys that had been always wearing gloves from the time they started racing.
Yeah. Hey, nothing. I mean, that's just like totally different. But guys who stand on crates.
Yep.
I can't do that. Every once in a while, if the crate's wide enough and I'm comfortable enough, I can do it. But like Tri-State, we were racing. I got up on the crate and I raced like half the heat. The first track call, I was like, yeah, I can't do this. You know, and everyone's like, oh, but you could see this and this so much better. And it's just like,
well, at Tri-State, yeah, see, at Tri-State, I always needed the crate for at least red lane, maybe white, to see the dead man.
Right.
Because if you're a taller guy, you don't need anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're about the same height. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it was weird.
I could run without it.
Yeah. Right.
Not really see my car because the dead man was so good, but I still wanted to see my car. So I had to stand on the crate.
Yeah. The first time I ever did that, I almost fell on the track. And everyone's like, are you all right? And I'm like, this is just new to me. Let me get this out of the way.
A lot of it depends on, I think the bigger the crate is, the more comfortable you are. But when you're up like on a milk crate.
Yeah. See, I can't stand too close feet to feet because I'll lock up, you know.
So a lot of guys have their own little.
Yeah.
Not crate, but step stool.
Or stand. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And then some guys will run it all the way down the panel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen them do that. I can't. Now, if it's already there, you know what I mean, then that's not so bad.
Right.
And a lot of it could be, I thought about it, is maybe my controller wire isn't long enough. So I feel restricted.
Well, the only problem with standing on step stool is if you have to pick your car up off the straightaway to straighten your braid or make a quick.
Yeah, you kind of got to
get off of it, pick the car up, put the car on, get back up on it, and
get lightheaded because you're in a hurry and then you're up so high. I did that before and seen stars.
Yep. So. Yeah, there was a couple times I raced at Tri-State. I kind of got a little.
Yeah, it's just funny because you feel fine, but as soon as you step down and you're like aggravated or something's going on, and then you get back up there and you're like, wow, I might pass out here. This is getting pretty intense.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird. I mean, so.
I've had friends ask me before in your race, why do you get so red, hot, and sweaty? And it's just like, you'd be surprised, So, depending on if it's a close race, how your adrenaline gets going,
Right.
So.
Oh, yeah. And then, a lot of guys, when they race, I don't want to say they tense up, but they are so rigid.
Yeah.
Like, and some of it's the way you stand.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're used to standing a certain way, and then you get up on a step stool or a crate, you can't stand that way.
Yeah.
It feels like if you get into that, you're going to fall or it's going to collapse.
See, I've noticed, because like our monthly races, we race 2 minutes.
Right.
So like, I guess you could say I'm kind of conditioned for 2 minutes.
Right.
So like when we went to the Nats up at Rogers, I was like, my legs are locking up, Bobby's like, what do you mean? I was like, dude, I'm not used to 2 minutes. I'm used to 3 minutes. And he was like, there's no line. Lean on the track.
Right.
And I was like, well, you're probably right. He was like, Ron's leaning on the track. So there's a couple of other ones. Do you have any problem seeing? Like, no, not really. He's like, lean on the track. So that's what I started doing. Like now, every time I go to like for the flexi flats, I do a U. I put one hand on the track and I lean. And I'm good to go. Yeah.
Well, okay. So and then at the flexi flats, I had a problem with my forearm muscle.
Right.
Oh, it was so sore.
Yeah, I killed a car.
Because most tracks, you're not,
Yeah.
driving like that.
Or what was it you were calling yourself? You're the King Track. What was it?
King Track hack.
Yeah. No.
King Track.
Well, that's for the Mid-South race. Me and Bobby were running GTP, You got all that downforce, and we were getting around pretty good. And I mean, I'm left-handed, so I use, and then it locked up, and I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna end well. And in the wall I went, and that's whenever it sucked the body in.
Yep.
Everyone's like, what happened? I was like, my hand locked up. And they're like, huh? I'm like, I locked up.
Yeah, the first time I ever locked up was in a wing car race down in Orlando. But
right.
That's when I realized, wow, you can run those turns full punch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you got lucky with your lockup, and me not so much.
I'm trying to smack my hand to get it, and it wouldn't release. And finally, we had a track call.
Right.
And the guy running the race was like, what's wrong with you? And I said, my hand's locked up. I can't. And I finally got it. And then.
Have you ever seen Timmy? Whenever he has one of his hand cramps?
No.
Oh, dude, you will laugh. So, like a week or so, or maybe been the week of the Mid-South race, Timmy's at the panel, and he's doing Timmy. You know Timmy, happy-go-lucky, jolly, dancing around. I thought he was dancing at first. And he starts to screaming and cussing, and I'm looking at him, and Bobby, he's laughing at him, you know.
Right.
And I start laughing because I was like, what's Timmy doing? Come to find out, I thought he cramped up, you know. But then I'm like, no, he's kicking his foot. So I'm thinking, all right, or maybe he caught a calf cramp. It's like, no.
Toe cramp?
The brush in an FK motor, his FK motor, I guess, got hot and exploded. And whenever he picked the car up, the brush fell out of the motor and fell into his sock. So then, like, he's got a burnt spot. And that's what he was trying to do, was get his shoe off because he thought the brush was in his shoe, not to realize it was in his sock. So here's Timmy, you know, flopping around on the ground like a fish trying to get his shoe was off, but now he's trying to peel his sock off, you know, and I'm laughing, not knowing what's going on with him. I was like, dude, I didn't know if you were having a seizure or what was going on.
And he was wearing shorts, I take it.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen. Oh, yeah, actually, I have seen him in pants because I always say he works for EMS, but there's EMS and there's EMTs. One of the sophisticated ones.
He's an medical emergency professional.
Yep. So
he'd save your life.
Yep. We've been to races before and just kind of joking. It was me, Bobby, and Tim Varner. He owns Archdale, right?
Right.
Tim Varner, how he does it, I don't know, because like he smokes cigarettes, and he was like, I go to the doctor. Doctor tells me my blood pressure's fine. And I'm like, me and Bobby are like, there's no way. Nothing against him. It's just, you know. Right. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm not the healthiest, but I mean, I don't smoke. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not the healthiest. You went out with me before, you know. But it's like, take my blood pressure, and it's like borderline, you know. So it's like, it's average. Take Bobby's. Bobby's like, mine's going to be good because Bobby takes medicine. I'm on medicine now. And then Tim, you know, we're looking at Tim, smokes. He says he eats mayonnaise like it's
super low.
Yeah, everything. Extra mayonnaise, you know?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
You know? And it was just funny because Timmy came up one time and we were like, hey, you take our blood pressure? And he's like, yeah, I don't care. And the cool part about it is Timmy works with his mom. So his mom's in the back, like, something going on. Do I need to go in? And Timmy's like, no, it's just the guys being guys, you know? And it's funny. It's crazy. You look at some people and you think, wow, they got to be perfect. It's like, nope.
Okay, so do you get butterflies in your stomach when you qualify or before you qualify?
I get the shakes. You know that. You've seen me.
Okay.
I always tell people.
I don't anymore. I used to like get the butterfly thing going.
Okay, so like we go to a race and there's 5 races. Each race qualifies.
Yeah.
First race, I'm all over the board. You know. And I'm normally nervous the first time, or if I'm qualifying and you're always last because you're always first, and I feel like I'm on a good run, right, then I get nervous because it's like Ron's next. It's kind of like that time we were up at Mark's, remember? Yeah. And then we had like, what, a minute, 2 minutes to qualify, and it was 4-inch NASCAR, and you're over there, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I'm figuring it out. Leave me alone. You know? And then finally, like the last, 5 seconds, you're like, ooh, that was a good one, you know, and stuff. And then you came and clipped it, but you were like, that wasn't easy. That took some work. That's fun, you know.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of people get butterflies when they qualify. I used
I see
to.
people.
I mean, I don't. It's been a long time since I have, but
Right.
um, and I don't know why. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I know everyone.
I guess it's the fact that you're going to go up, and all eyes are going to be on you.
Yeah.
You
I
don't
mean,
want
that's
to
the
do,
only thing.
you don't want to do anything stupid,
Yeah.
but you want to run as good as you can.
Right.
But no, I don't get those butterfly thing call. I
I
haven't
mean,
for a long time, but a lot of people do.
like my legs shake. If you see me start to like do this number and I'm moving my legs, you'll start laughing. Like Bobby, he don't watch me because Bobby's like, you start moving, I know what's going on. You know. So, and I started this new thing with my right hand. For whatever reason, I put my right hand by my side and I do this number with it. And I notice when I do that, it helps with my legs. It's just like, all right, well, that works.
Well, it's kind of okay. So yeah, it's kind of okay. Like because a lot of people
But,
have different stances,
right.
different ways they hold the controllers.
Yep.
Some guys are one finger drivers, some are two, some are
Right.
the middle finger.
Yeah, do this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I've always been a trigger finger guy. I
Yeah.
can't do the
And you
two.
point and you do this number.
Yeah.
We were talking about that somewhere and we were laughing at you. Because
Um,
everyone was like, how does Ron do that? I was like, what? And he's like, he's telling the car to stop. I was like, he
they'll
might
tell
be.
you. They'll tell you I close my eyes 3 times a lap on a king track.
Right. Well, I've always said
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't see how you see because you're all squinty eyed anyway.
That's the problem is as you get older,
Oh, I know. Trust me.
your
You see.
your
You
eyes
see.
don't
Yeah.
your eyes don't react
Right.
from the differences in the distances going coming at you.
Right.
So you kind of get in that where it just stays the same.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, um, like when I started racing and for the longest time, I mean, I was a two-hander.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
and then I think when I started racing flat tracks, I noticed that I could go faster if I just drove with one hand.
See, I noticed that at the Flexi Flats.
And I think you said that, yeah.
Yeah. That if I did two hands, it was like I was slower. So if I took this hand, put it by my side, did my little sign language that I was doing, and then I normally rest my arm up against me, but it was kind of warm in there, so I had the fat man sweat going. So I was like, let me get my arm off of me so maybe I won't be so hot. And I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of going pretty good this way.
Right. So, I mainly
different stances we have.
Yeah, I mainly drive one-handed. I mean, I have for.
Now, if you really want to laugh, tell me to drive with my right hand. Because it still baffles people that don't know me that I race with my left hand. You know, Josh Barbie.
Well, turn your controller upside down and do your thumb.
Yeah, I can't.
Can't?
I've never tried it. Well, it was funny because we were up there practicing for the Flexi Flats, and I ran with my left hand and set like fast time, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could beat that time with my right hand. And I tried it, and I went faster with my right hand. And Bobby was like, "Oh boy!" And I'm like, "I ain't even going there."
Well, that's like Bud Bardos. I mean, he can drive with his finger or his thumb.
Right. And now Rudy, he drives with his thumb, don't he?
Right, because if they drive with their finger, they'll cramp up. They'll lock up. So they have to kind of race.
Well, I might have to tell Timmy to try that.
Some tracks, Bud will qualify with his finger because he knows he can go faster. And so that history tidbit. Back in the day of, when Rust kit controllers came out, they were a trigger controller in a world that was all thumb controllers. So one of their big gimmick selling points was the finger is faster than the thumb. Okay, so when I worked at Parma, there was an old it was like a box. I don't remember if it was metal or wood. Had a thumb controller and a finger controller. And it had some kind of timer.
Gotcha. Like a reaction.
You stood there, and when the light came on, you plunged or you pulled. And the finger was always faster than the thumb.
Gotcha.
So that was a big selling point why you wanted a Rust kit controller, because you the fingers faster and you'll go faster and
Right.
all that stuff. And um, when I started racing, there was a couple local guys that still raced with their thumb, from the '60s, and a couple of them would. I know one guy in particular. He tried. He could never drive
No.
with the trigger. He was always better with his thumb.
Gotcha.
And then, the guys in the UK for, wow, I'm going to say up until the '90s, like George Kimmer and them guys. I mean, they all had a
Ran with your thumb.
But over time, they've all adjusted, adapted, figured out how to go fast with a.
It's just the thing that amazes me about James.
Right.
He races with the palm of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's what cracks me up about people. They say, "Oh, well, I can't." And it's like, here's this guy doing it with the palm of his hand and doing great.
Right.
Winning races,
right.
setting fast. Yeah, it's just like,
And then and another thing too. I mean, a lot of the all triggers. Everybody that I haven't seen a guy race with a thumb control in I don't know how long.
right.
So everybody has adapted, but I think part of that was the revolution or the change in controllers. Back when it was kind of just like Parma turbos and early, external resistor controllers and stuff. They weren't just all that smooth and stuff. But now with electronics and transistors,
Right.
resistors, and
because I can remember whenever I started.
Multiple bands.
Yeah, it was always
people adapt to the finger system.
Yeah, the controller was the Parma 2-ohm wet wound resistor, and then that's whenever Omni was coming out. Big old heat sink,
Fidex.
Yep, I had one of those, and then I sold it had like a big dial on it, like a 9-position.
Yep.
Had all these wires hanging off of it.
Click, 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 click.
Yep, that's what I had for the longest. And then Trinity came out with one that I had that I liked. I ran with that one for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then our track closed up.
Well, that Trinity controller became the Professor motor controller.
Gotcha.
So, we were talking about so a few weeks ago when I raced at Thaser at Houston Nats, on Friday night they had a rental car race where they put 8 cars on the track and 8 controllers on the track. And
right.
They were Parma turbo controllers, but those springs and those things, I felt like he was pulling 100 pounds. I mean,
well, you get some of them that, like the pink resistor, they burn up.
I don't know
so
if
they split it and they just kind of.
I don't know if these had wet wound resistors or pink or the regular pink resistors.
Yeah,
but
I always call it. I'm sure there's a name for them, but
they were all smooth. They were all smooth,
Yeah.
But it was just like, can we put a stiffer spring in this? I mean,
right. They probably did that so the kids don't grab it and go.
Made my forearm hurt. That's all I know.
That's just like for the same race, GTP race. I told Bobby, I was like, dude, I'm wore out, because the car's just handled so good.
Right.
So
and no matter how well the car handles, you're always trying to squeeze your controller harder, like to get.
Oh yeah. That's just like
full on. It doesn't matter if you put 500 pounds of pressure or an ounce of pressure.
I broke a handle before doing that. Just squeezing it and pat. It's like, oh, great. Bobby's like, what? And I was like, there goes that handle.
Handle?
Yep. I bought like 3 or 4 handles. I got them sitting up here on a drawer just because I know if the race is good, my car's handling good, I'll squeeze it. He was telling me about the burn sides. They used to break handles left and right, which he said they had like a huge hand and a death grip, and they would always break handles on their controllers. So
I don't know. I like the feel. I guess it's because it goes back to the racing thing. I've raced with no gloves. Now I have gloves. It don't feel good. But I don't like any handle except for a Parma handle. I mean,
Right.
all the other handles that's came along, they just feel strange. I mean, they're different,
Yeah.
but I've never been able to adapt to them to where
Something like you, I've raced with all kinds of different handles, but I think if I had to choose, I like the Parma handle.
rust kit Parma handle, whatever.
Yeah.
Same handle since the
Yeah.
60s.
Well, it's kind of like going to the gun range. You know, some people
Yeah.
are like, well, you know, why do you shoot better with that gun than you do this gun? It's like, it's just how it feels better. You know, and they look at you like, huh?
Yep.
It's just like, that's just, you know.
I know guys have changed their grips on their
Yep.
hand.
My brother, he's all into,
He went from a marksman to look out and duck
yeah.
with the shooter, you know? I mean, because it's just a different feel.
Yep.
So, you got anything else?
No,
No?
I think we covered it all. Just interested in the whole braid thing. We got to figure out what the part number is, though, because I do want to start using that stuff.
Oh, the cleaner?
Yeah, just text me a picture or whatnot.
Okay.
Or put the picture in the comments, because I'm sure there's probably other people thinking, yeah, me too, you know?
I'll see what I can find.
Because I remember we talked about the armature cleaning stuff, and you were like, yeah, you got to buy this stuff in like a gallon jug, and it's expensive.
Right. Well, that's the same stuff that I clean the
Braid with?
setups in. Yeah. I never clean Braid.
No.
But
Okay.
the copper hardware cleans it up like it's brand new. So,
Maybe now that I know it's got multiple uses, I'll buy a gallon of it.
oh, gotcha.
Yeah, because before it was just like,
Yeah, it's like 40 or 45, $50 a gallon.
yeah, maybe I can get like me, Bobby, and George, and we can be chemists and split it up, you know?
Right.
So,
Okay.
good times.
Good times. Secret word of the show.
We talked about a lot of stuff. Secret word of the show. You can say, want to do braid? We did braid.
We can do Braid. I don't think we've ever done that in the past.
Kind of boring, but it's not like
Braid.
last week. Huh?
Braid. Braid is the secret word. Yep. There you go. All right. We are going to end this.
Racing this weekend?
That's
right. You're going to the...
I'm going to go to the Shinoda race.
The Shinoda. I'm not racing. I'm still on vacation.
I kind of want to check that out the last couple of years and conflicts, and this year it's an open weekend, so
hopefully the weather won't be too crazy up there, because I know y'all be getting
40s and 50s. Not going to be below freezing, so
cool.
Yeah, because it's 23 here today, and it's going to be 50 here, a couple more days. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's just like we were talking before the show. I was like, yep, we're having our cold spell. And you're like, cold? And like, that's 37. Yeah, that's cold. You see me, I had long sleeves. They should have seen me at work. I had a job site. A lot of the houses that they're doing down here are all like marsh front. There's a lot of water down here. And man, that wind was coming off that. Whew. I think at one point today I had on like 3 coats, and I was laughing at myself because it's like I'm used to it gradually getting colder, but like yesterday it was 70 degrees, and today I wake up and it's 37. It's just like, yeah, you got to give me more warning than that.
Yep. So. All right. We will see everybody next week for episode 69.
I'll make stickers. We can give stickers away.
That's Shane's number, 69. Yeah. Generation Sex.
There you go.
All right.
The after hours show, 11 o'clock on Thursdays.
No children allowed.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody have a good week. Safe weekend. If you're going racing, good luck. Have fun. We will see you next Wednesday. Episode 69.
Yep. Have a good night.
Good night.